Hello and welcome back to our video series on Power BI Basics. Today we're going to be covering a fun one, and that's shapes and text boxes in Power BI. If you haven't watched any of the other videos in the series, please consider doing that. We're currently releasing a video on Power BI every single day, and the videos are building on top of each other. We're just now about, I think, getting to video 30, so there's a lot of content there for you to watch and for you to learn. All right, let's jump in. Currently, I'm in Power BI, and first we're going to review shapes. All right, so you can create a shape by going over here and going Insert, and then going over here to Shapes, and then inserting the shape. You might be wondering, like, why should I care about shapes? And that's because you can layer shapes to create really beautiful interactions or dashboards, very similar to the way that web developers can layer shapes. Right now, I'm going to create a rounded rectangle, which is a pretty popular shape, actually. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to click rounded rectangle. And what we're going to get is actually going to be something that at least in my opinion, is arguably kind of ugly. But what we can do is we can go in and we can format that shape. So if you notice over here, and I've got a lot of tabs expand right now, so I'm going to hide some of these. I'm going to collapse the filter. But if we go over here, what we might have is we have our format pane, and I just moved myself out of the way so you can see the full format pane. So what we can do is we can do a few things. First, we can change the fill. So I'm going to search for fill, and I'm going to change it away from this blue to a white. Okay. Then I'm going to change border, right? And right now the border is blue, but I'm going to make it a black, and maybe I'm going to up it a little bit. All right, so now we're starting to have something probably a little bit more interesting. However, what we can also do, maybe I'm going to decrease this a little, is we can then, maybe go back up to 2, is we can then do things like we can add a little bit of a glow for a 3D effect. So I can go ahead and I can turn this on, and right now, right, it's going to glow blue, but I can go make it glow maybe a lighter gray, right? And we can, I'm going to turn its blur down a little, and then turn its transparency up a little. Okay, so there we go. And then what we can do is then, if we, for example, set a background here, we can start to actually build a little bit of a 3D effect. So if I go back here, I go to canvas background, and maybe I set this just to like a light gray, right? And I didn't actually do that. Turn down transparency here. So there we are. We now have a light gray. That's probably a little too gray. So I'll go back over and I will go back to my background, and I'll make this even a lighter gray. So I'll go into here. And there we go. We're now starting to get a lighter gray. So what you can see is that we're actually starting to build something that's a little bit more 3D. I'm going to go back to our shape just because that's our focus. And I'm going to go, and that border looks a little too intense. So I'm going to turn that down a bit. So I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to turn this now to like a lighter gray. And then finally, I'm actually going to make the edges, they're a little less rounded. So I'm going to go round over here, and I can actually turn this rounding way down. Right, and now I'm actually starting to get something that I can go through and actually start to put together a design with. All right, well, that brings us to the next part of this Power BI visual setting, which is text boxes. So text boxes are really important because they allow us to create and blend our fonts. So what you can do is you can create a text box by going back over to this insert and then going and clicking here, and then you can actually go through and you can type, whatever you want in this text box, and you can adjust things like the background. So in this case, if I want 100% transparent text box, there we go. I have that, and you can also adjust the border, and you can start to build your report. So let's replace my gibberish here with my first report. Right, and I'll go ahead and I will make that nice and big. And there we go. So that is text boxes here. All right, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'm sure there's stuff that you might be wondering that I didn't answer, and I'd be happy to make a follow-up video on any of them. But for now, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for tomorrow. Maybe subscribe if you like what you see, because we're releasing a video every single day on how to use Power BI.